3MB. Whose idea was that?
Well, it was my idea to get the band. You know? It was totally my idea. And the next thing you know, my band members, I wanted like a Motley Crue. You know, I needed Dean Ambrose, I needed Fandango, and I needed ECIII. Those were the guys I wanted, you know. And this was before Shield, before Fandango, all that stuff.
Right.
So I was like, I wanted these three. So they came back to me. No on Ambrose, we got an idea for him. No on Fandango, we got an idea for him. And no on EC3. And I was like, well, why not on Hutter, you know? They're just like, we don't think he'll fit. And then that's like a little bit after that, he got released.
Yeah.
You know, to where they're like, don't worry, though, we're going to get you a band. So this was like, I went to Hayes. I told him, hey, man, one-man band, did all this, blah, blah, blah. I need a band. So I told him that, who I wanted.
Right.
Next week, not getting them. The week later, you're getting a band, son. You're getting a band. Who? Next week it's coming. All right. Next thing you know, next week, I'm like, all right, what it is? He was like, you having Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. And I'm like, what?
Right.
What? Really? I was like, first, Jinder was just, you know, all right, whatever, you know. Drew's just mad, you know. He's like, what the hell? You know, I don't want to be in this band group, playing air guitars, this and that. But then, you know, we all talked, and he's like, man, all I wanted to do was be a wrestler and like a rock star. He was like, so I guess I could be both in one. I was like, yeah, you can. But still, to me, it still sounds like a crazy joke, like a Scotsman, an Indian, and a redneck walk into a bar. It's like, come on, man.
Did you have a good relationship with Jinder and Drew?
Bro,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, inside and outside the ring, man. Like we have been buddies ever since we've actually been we met.
Right.
You know. So that was a blessing, you know. We all liked each other, you know. So that was a cool thing about it. But yeah, I'm just glad it lasted 2 years.
It was long.
You know, so long. And it's funny to me that people always be like, yeah, man, 3MB was amazing. It was awesome. I'm like, do you remember 3MB, man? Like, do you actually remember it? But yeah, what I think it was 3MB was just 100% entertainment, man. It was entertaining. People laughed. People liked it, you know. So it worked.
What are your favorite moments for 3MB for that run? Yeah, oh yeah. They put Swoggle with you guys. They did a lot of stuff.
I ain't gonna lie. Like I always loved going over to the UK as 3MB because we were this group over there called the Union Jacks. You know, our music would hit. We'd dress up in like all just, you know, Union Jack, British flagged out, and come out, and we would have one of the biggest pops of the night. I mean, I remember literally walking out looking all nuts and crazy, being 3MB, and these people loving it. I mean, chanting 3MB. We'd come out, they'd all stand, like they loved us over there to where it was just like, this is a hell of a feeling, you know? Like, I love coming over here. This is great. But yeah, that, and we did some other things like we did a thing with Florida Georgia line in Nashville to where we were the Rhinestone Cowboys, you know, and dressed up as funny things. And I remember I got hurt, but it was in New Year's, but they had the show up at MSG, and they had to dress up as New Year's babies, but I wasn't in that one, so I didn't have to.
Right.
There's pictures going around with Jinder and Drew in like bed sheets, you know, because, you know, looking like a New Year's baby and stuff. Like, my goodness.
2014, what was your reaction to WWE releasing Drew and Jinder? Were you shocked?
I was. What got me is like WWE always gives you your calendar, man, and usually they stick with it. So next thing you know, we're booked on everything, like every week, every live event, everything, where you're like, shoot, okay, this is good.
Right.
And then next thing you know, that big massive cut happened, and I remember doing cardio, and I think Drew called me first, or it was one of them called me first, and they just was like, hey man, I just got released. And I'm like, what? No way. And they're like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, shoot, well, I'm going to get it too then.
Yeah, I was going to ask, yeah.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, Drew calls me, you know, and he's like, dude, I just got released. I'm like, well, it's happening, man. I said, I'll call you back. So I'm chilling, waiting, nothing. And I'm just, is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be later on?
Right.
I straight called Mark Carano. Boom, boom. Hey. He's like, hey, buddy. I was like, you forget to call me? Or what's going on, you know? He legit was like, nah, man, you're safe. I was just like, oh, really? What? I was like, what's the plan? What's this? He's like, man, I have no idea. I still have like 5 more phone calls to make. I was like, dang. So next thing you know, I got off the phone. I called them both back, and I'm like, dude, I called Corona and they told me I was safe, you know?
Right.
And it was just awkward, you know?
Oh,
like,
I can imagine.
I'm with them for 2 years. They're out the picture, and then it's like me doing what? You know, it's just I'm trying to find myself again and all this stuff.
At the time, 3MB has been used as a very low-level group of heels. Do you blame WWE creative for that, or outside factors? Before they got released.
I want to say it was. I kind of feel like it's always that thing that we're like, you know, you have these guys that are talented, and they're wanting to do stuff, and they're wanting to, you know, make the company better, the product better, and themselves. Give them that chance to do it until they mess up, until you know that they can't do it, you know. But it's just one of those things I really feel like in Vince's head is that once he gets this idea and he doesn't think about that idea or that idea, he honestly at the moment just does this. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Get rid of it, you know. And instead of like thinking of ideas, thinking what they could do and should do, he just is like, well, I like this and this idea, so that's all we need now. Just get rid of him. You know, and I really believe like he'll be like, get rid of him. But if I think of something in a year, we just hire him back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I kind of feel like it goes that way.